Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kenny Battle, the Intergovernmental Relations Manager for the County Executive, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 5th Annual Legislative Listening Session. The County Executive is happy to host this event. The Honorable Rashawn L. Baker III, who is joined tonight by Senator Jim Rosapep, who chairs our Senate delegation in Annapolis, and also Delegate Geraldine Valentino Smith, who is the first vice chair of the House delegation. Okay. Now, the purpose of tonight's event is to allow the public to come and present issues that they feel are important enough and should be addressed during the 2017 session of the General Assembly in Annapolis. So, the format for this event, this is not intended to be a conversation. The elected officials who are here, who represent the county's leadership in Annapolis, are here to listen to your concerns. We do have representatives from several agencies here, and also 311 staff are here who can also assist you if you have issues that you want to get some direct follow-up on. I believe the 311 reps are still out here in the lobby. Do we have any in the audience? Okay, so they're still out front. Now, important housekeeping notes. We would like all of the members of the public to come to the podium here on your left, our right. I will call your names as you signed up, and also please be advised that you will each have 2 minutes apiece. Now, okay. So before we start, I want to allow the leadership to give some brief remarks. So we will start first with County Executive Rashawn L. Baker III.
Can you hear me? Actually, we'll start with Senator Rosapep.
You want to start? Okay.
Who's the chair of the Senate delegation, Senator Rosapep.
Is it on?
There we are. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here on behalf of the Prince George's Senate delegation. Look forward to the comments and look forward to sharing them with my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Rosapep. Delegate Geraldine Valentino, the vice chair of the House delegation.
Thank you. Good evening. A privilege to be here. We have 23 delegates in the delegation. I'm here to listen. We do our best work when we get feedback from the community, so I encourage you to use our website and communicate with us. And I do apologize ahead of time. I have a babysitter who has the PSAT tomorrow, so I will need to leave around 8:45. I don't want to interfere with his score. So thank you, and it's a privilege to be here and represent you.
Thank you. Can we give them both a round of applause for being here and representing us? Well, thank you. Many of you, this is the 5th year that we've done it. The 5th year or the 6th year?
5th.
It is the 5th, as we're winding down the administration. This is the 5th year. It's a chance for us. The reason I like these is a chance for us to hear from you before we go to Annapolis, and actually before we engage the leadership in Annapolis from the Senate and the House side. And so this really is your opportunity to tell us what's on your mind. What do you want us to fight for while we're in Annapolis? There are many issues that face us. Much like our budget session, when you come out and you tell us what you want to see in our budget, this is an opportunity to talk about the legislative agenda. And if I look like I'm squinting, it's because this light here, Barry, is like, Barry Hudson?
Barry.
Over there, it's like hitting me right in the eye. Yes, it is. So with that, we look forward to your testimony and your suggestions. With that, Kenny, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge a few of the elected officials who are here. I believe Sheriff Melvin High is in the room. Sheriff, thank you, sir. We are also joined by Mr. Malcolm Augustine, who is our representative on WMATA's board. Okay. We also have representatives here from Senator Joanne Benson's office, Ms. Poquea Owasku. I hope I didn't mess it up, Poquea. Thank you. And also Ms. May Anna Hassel from Senator Curry's office.
That's good.
Okay. So we're going to start. I'm going to
Kenny,
call.
let me
Yes, sir.
just do this. One last thing, because Kenny mentioned this, I want to make sure that we also reemphasize this. Your government is actually out in the hallways. So if there are questions that come up and we think they can be answered here with one of our department heads, we're going to ask you to see them. I see Nick Majette, our county administrator. Stand up, Nick. And can we have all the folks that work for the county that are here to stand up? I know Pam Creekmer, our health officer, yes. Yeah. Right. So if you ask me a question and one of these great men and women who actually run this county are here, you'll see me just say, hey, Sydney Phoenix is here who runs the, help me out, supplier diversity. So if you have a contract issue, I'll send you over there. But I want to make sure that you understand that we're going to try and answer your questions tonight. And 311's here. So with that, Kenny?
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to start this evening. I'm going to call you up in groups. So please, when I call your name, please make your way up to the podium. First speaker is Mr. David Kahn, followed by Mr. William Knuckles.
Civil rights. Of all the jurisdictions in this part of the country, Prince George's County is probably most concerned about civil rights because we have a lot of the heroes of the civil rights movement right here in our county. Unfortunately, the civil rights of the people in this county have been sorely abused. Voting rights are probably among the most important civil rights that we can have, and yet the right of the people to vote for and elect our school board have been trampled on, not once, but twice. First, they took away all of our right to vote for school board and put in an appointed board, and that didn't do any better than the previous all-elected board had done. So we got our elected board back and got it back to 9 single-member districts. And now that's been taken away, and now we have a hybrid board that waters down the vote of every person who votes in this county. Before, each person had 1/9. Now they have 1/13. And if you don't think that means a lot, just look at the dysfunction of this board. The board, first of all, has almost no power. What little power it has is basically in the hands of partisan political appointees. And the superintendent, or CEO, is not accountable to the board. For example, the CEO can close schools at a whim. I'm not saying he's just acting on a whim, but he's not accountable for what he does in any way. And the school board leadership is not accountable to the people. We need to return our schools to the people. And that means an all-elected board from 9 single-member districts, no at-large, because you can't afford to run county-wide. Civil rights are important.
Thank you.
We need to repeal HB 1107. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
With that, Kenny,
right.
as you're calling up the next speaker, let me just say Dr. Maxwell, the CEO of our school system, is there. Thank you, Dr. Maxwell. Give him a round of applause. Thank you for being here.
Okay, the next speaker is Ms. Angela Clark, followed by Octavia Blake. Is Ms. Blake here? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I represent the 11.7 as of the 2015 statistics for the elderly population of Prince George's County, which is a ballpark figure of over 100,000 people. And for your information, Prince George's County is the second largest county in Maryland, state of Maryland. So I equate that with whatever comes from the top, we should get the second largest amount, because the largest being Montgomery County.
I like that.
And I won't say any more regarding that. My questions are, which I had asked that they be passed out so that you would have them in front of you, and I hope that you have them. About the FBI. What is the status on the FBI? Strategically speaking, if they dropped a bomb in this country, Prince George's County, more especially the state of Maryland, has more land, roads to the nation's capital as opposed to Virginia. One thing that I have noticed from the highway is that if you're trying to sell something, you should make your entryways look attractive, and they are not. I've looked at a couple of the landmarks. I don't drive, so as of here recently, and I need to meet with you, Mr. Baker, in the near future. But I noticed that on the highway where they have the marker, "Welcome to Prince George's County," you can't even see it because it's covered with overgrowth, the majority of the sign. You have to like get up on it and probably swim through the bushes in order to visualize it. They don't have any kind of beautification of the landscape around the sign and nice lighting to make it look inviting. A major thoroughfare is Central Avenue. When I lived in that area, the big dividing strip that they have with all that grass and stuff like that, as you go past, oh, I don't know, the DC Maryland line, it's not attractive.
Okay.
Last two questions, update on the legislative measures to create and bring more high-tech and income-producing industry to Prince George's County, an update on that. And number three, is there a public emergency notification system in place if the internet system fails throughout the state of Maryland? You have to have something mechanical, and to the best of my knowledge, you don't.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Especially these days and times. Last question, safety and security at the New Carrollton Amtrak waiting area. They have a lot of derelicts that go around there, and people are afraid to go and utilize that waiting area.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Thank you for your testimony, and since we have your information, we'll get back to you on these questions. Thank you.
And after Ms. Blake, we have Chris Langston.
I'm Octavia Henry Blake. I live in Bowie. I live in a senior community. I find myself home in the afternoon, and I'm 87. I shouldn't have to be home before dark. Yeah. The transportation is woefully inadequate. I take a class that starts at 2 and ends at 3. Ends at 4. The bus leaves at 2:15. The only reason I'm able to take that class is because my teacher graciously brings me home. We need, and don't tell me it's a city problem, because it's not a city problem. I was glad to hear you say you were going to the state. A lady who used to live in Willows now lives down in Upper Marlboro on Capstan. She would like to be able to go to Brava. She would like to be able to go to the theater in the woods. We all would. And we built the foundation on which we laid the foundation on which you have built a beautiful, beautiful city, town, state, county. Don't let us be frustrated and unhappy in our last years. Give us the little transportation that we need to get to the few things that we want to go to.
Ma'am, can you tell me what do you take, the bus or the metro? What transportation are you
The
talking?
city bus will pick
City of
me
Bowie?
up and take me to the senior center. But the last bus leaves at 2:15, and my class starts at 2 o'clock. Give me a couple of extra minutes. Mrs. Mrs. Clark and I are here. Do you know how we got here?
I think you
We
learned it,
called
Renee.
Metro Access and told them that this program started at 6. They told us, be ready between 4:15 and 4:45. They picked us up at 4:25 and let us out there at 5 minutes to 5. That's how long we had to wait because we don't have public transportation in this county.
Thank you.
Okay, after Mr. Langston, we have Johnny Walker.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm going to be brief. I'd like to know the status of the development at the Jamal Fairfield Farm site and also the future of the old Fairmont Heights High School, as far as it's going to be temporarily occupied by another school or possibly charter school or whatever. And also, I was on the planning committee with Park and Planning, and a suggestion was brought up to possibly in the future turn it into something like Bates High School in Annapolis. Is it possible a study could be done to see that in the future?
Okay. I can look at that. What I can do, I don't know if Dr. Maxwell has anyone in staff that can talk to you about what we're planning to do for Fairmont Heights and those. I'm not sure if there's anything that's been planned there, but certainly if Dr. Maxwell, if any of your staff is here, maybe get your information on that.
But nothing on the short term, like?
And your last question was?
Oh, the short term, as far as when the students move out of the old building?
Yeah, I think somebody from the school system, they'll move out next fall. So somebody from the school system may be able to provide some answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, as Ms. Johnny Walker approaches the mic, please be mindful, everyone, that we do have 36 speakers, so we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak. Following Johnny Walker will be Lula Crutchfield.
Hi, good evening. I'm Johnny Walker. I'm from the Oak Lawn community of Fort Washington, Maryland. And I come with my concerns for the senior citizens in my community. And it's one that we're all familiar with. Trash pickup once a week. It is a problem now. It is making our communities a disaster. A family of 5 have trash piled upside the building. You turn in the block. It looks bad. It's bringing in rodents. And seniors are now trying to walk down a driveway with a cane and a trash can. So I think that we should go back to twice a week. And in lieu of MGM coming, I am so certain some of the revenue from that could go back into that department so that we can be returned to twice a week trash. It looks bad. The next thing I want to talk about is the leaf pickup for the seniors. We went from trash bags to paper bags. Seniors cannot bend down on a 1/4 acre of land and pick up trash in little paper bags that get wet at the curb. When they pick them up, all the leaves fall out and they drive off and leave us with that to clean up again. I pray that you all go back and revisit this. Take us back to trash twice weekly. We can use the revenues from MGM. Take us back to plastic, picking up the leaves. And the last thing I want to just throw out is for schools. The lottery, years ago, was determined to support the schools. All the resources were to go to help schools, build schools, buy books. Can we address that? Can we get some of the lottery money to build some schools or at least buy them a new chair, a new computer? Our PG school systems are so antiquated. They look the same way today as they did when my 47-year-old son was in there.
Okay.
Please, let's take this back to the
All
board
right.
and change it.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Thank you.
As
If,
Ms.
if I
Lula
could do this
Crutchfield approaches.
Real quick, if somebody from, Nick, if we can get somebody, if Barry's here, somebody from the Department of Environment to talk about the first 2 issues. Not so much the twice a week trash pickup because the budget's coming up. I'll write that down for, we reconsider what we're gonna do in the budget, during the budget session. So that's going to be coming up. But I'll write down that you want to go back to twice a week. But the complaints about what's going on now with the trash pickup, I want to make sure somebody from the department comes. And the leaf bags, Nick, if we can get that information. And then on the lottery, that's why we have our legislative body here. Since they deal with the lottery in Annapolis, we'll take that down. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Zola Crutchfield, and I moved from Kansas in 2007. And I was looking for a place to live, and I looked all over 95 Highway. I was called 95 Highway Traveler. I went to Rockville, Bethesda, Virginia. The only thing that caught my eye in Prince George County was 301. This is a beautiful, tranquil road. I moved and went to Beech Tree Development, and I was told great things are going to happen there, beautiful things. It's a beautiful development. But one thing you're doing wrong, you're cutting down too many trees. I came in this development because I love the environment, I love the trees. Trees bring prosperity, it's great. I don't want to live in Bethesda, I don't want to live in Rockville. I have friends moving from Rockville, Bethesda down here, okay? Oh my God, they come down here, they love it. Now you're going to turn them away because you want to be like Rockville, Bethesda. You can't be like Rockville, Bethesda because you are in Prince George County, a beautiful county. And one more minute, thank you very much. But I want to say, stop building townhomes in Beech Tree. You're running the deers away, you're running the foxes away, and you're running everybody away, including me. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Pat Boyd, followed by Lottie Coles and Antonio Morell.
Hello, I'm Pat Boyd, and I lived in Camp Springs for over 30 years, and you can have all my deer. What I want to talk about is the importance of composting and being green and sustainable on a local level. I want to see the leaf pickup reinstated with some of that money that we saved from the trash, which nowadays is going into recycle. Yes, okay? We are reasonably close to Western Branch composting facility, and I would prefer to see the leaves vacuumed from the curb without the paper bags. The paper bags are not in our best interest in terms of tree harvest to produce, and this contributes to global warming. Let's get back on the right track and make leaf pickup easier for our environment, our residents, and the leaf pickup is the main concern of my nearest neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is Lottie Coles, followed by Antonio Morell and Paulette McIntosh.
Good evening. My name is Lottie Coles, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you directly. I'm going to repeat what everybody else has said. Trash pickup. Please go back to twice a week. I have so many pets that I didn't buy now because of the trash pickup. I have squirrels, I have deer, I have groundhogs, I have raccoons, you name it, foxes, I have it. And with the trash building up so high, I can't close the lid to the trash can, and they pull the trash out all over the place. One of them, or all of them, I don't have a clue which one is doing it. The next thing is the leaf bags. Yes, when we put the leaf bags out there and it rains, the bags burst. And the contractors that pick up the leaf, the waste, they don't clean up the street behind themselves when the bags burst. The next thing is, I have a daughter that attends New Horizon Supported Services. And New Horizon has been a tremendous support for me in my life. It has enabled me to work, and my daughter is happy because it gave her stability. If we cannot support the minimum wage like the other counties surrounding us can, I'm afraid when we hire people, train those people, they're gonna be there, get experience, and they're gonna leave. New Horizon cannot afford to keep training people over and over again for the other counties to benefit from our efforts. And if we taking money out of the pot for senior citizens and other disabled people that have illnesses, it's no different than supporting New Horizon in the disabled community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coles. Next is Antonio Morel, followed by Paulette McIntosh and Quentin Vaschiani.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Morel. I serve as the Student Governors Association President at the gorgeous Prince George's Community College for my second term. My major is General Studies, and I'm focusing in political science and mass communications. As a former foster youth, I've had the opportunity to attend college without a dime coming from my pocket, thanks to the Pell Grant. Being that I don't have to stress and worry about working so much to pay for school and make a living, I have a chance to get involved on campus and my community. There are students on campus who would love to get involved on campus and their communities. However, they are forced to either get involved or work those extra 20 hours to pay for books, tuitions, and their bills. At gorgeous Prince George's Community College, we believe that education is the key that unlocks the door of opportunity. And in order to make Prince George's Community College tuition-free, we believe that we need more county official leaders and communities to stand in support of this initiative to make education available for all who seek it. To us, this is a no-brainer. We are asking that you strongly consider the recommendation that will eliminate the task force report, which is due to the office of the, emanate, not eliminate, emanate from the task force report, which is due to the office of the executive, to the county executive in the Maryland General Assembly by January 1st, 2017. Let us do in Prince George's County what 3 other counties, Garrett, Allegheny, and Wicomico, are doing in Maryland, erasing student debt and supporting opportunities for college students to remain focused, graduate, and prosper.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Ms. Paulette McIntosh, followed by Quentin Vaschiani and Jennifer Bodicher.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Paulette McIntosh, and I'm the president of the Administrative and Professional Staff Organization at Prince George's Community College. I am here to also speak in support of the Promise Scholarship Program, a tuition-free program for community college students who meet specific criteria in the county. Having been at the college for almost 10 years, working directly with students in my role as Program Director of College Life Services, I've heard the stories of so many students who have shared how the financial stresses have negatively impacted their academic performance and progress. The average age of our students is 30 years old, and many of these students work more than 20 hours per week during the academic year to provide for their families and to pay for their education. This financial burden of rising tuition costs, which leads to financial stress, have forced some of these students to reduce their academic load or stop in and stop out, which prevents them from completing their studies in a timely manner, if at all. We're also seeing a trend of the growing anxiety these students experience as they continue to pursue their education, with the increased student loans, debt, facing meeting aggregate loan limits in a difficult job market. Early analysis of enrollment trends lead us to believe that an annual investment of $2.6 million into a Promise Scholarship Program funding source from like MGM could put 1,000 Prince George's County students on track to transform their lives and the lives of their families and their communities. This can allow them to focus on their academics, reduce financial stresses, and allow the fear of financial debt to result in decisions that derail their dreams and aspirations. I hope that Prince George's County will become the 4th county in Maryland and join the other 151 counties across the U.S. to provide a free tuition for students attending community colleges. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is Mr. Vaschiani here? Okay, before you speak, I just want to acknowledge Senator Ben Cardin, his Senate representative here tonight. Is Ryan Middleton here from Senator Cardin's office? Thank you. We also are joined by former Delegate Jolene Ivey and former Delegate Aisha Braveboy. Thank you for being here.
With greetings, I'm Mr. Vassiani, and this is my daughter Nyla. We're wondering if we can be heard after, oh, here's Mr. Baker. Okay, that's what we want to hear. Mr. Baker.
Yes.
My name is Quentin Vassiani. We met the first time you had a press conference on Old Central Avenue. A young lady's son was murdered there, and you came and I spoke to you about a property that I wanted to obtain for my business. I think Jason Williams was your assistant at the time, and you directed him to help me.
Yes.
I still today don't have the property. Mr. Himmler is now working with me on his 22 Yost Place. There's a $250,000 tax lien on the property. Mr. Himmler directed me to purchase it from the property owner, and they would wipe the taxes free to help me with my business. Mm-hmm. Well, I purchased it from the owner, and I have acquired that tax lien. Okay, so, but that's not why I'm here. Mm-hmm. The last time that I was here, we were in Greenbelt, and I was talking to you about the same issue. And I thought about something. My daughter's mom had passed, and they had kicked her out of the TAGGED program. And I broke down, and I was crying, and you had other people in the audience pull me to the back and help me. The very next day, they had my daughter back in that class, thanks to you. So I'm here to thank you for what you've done for my child, and not to complain. A lot of people often complain, but I'm here to say thank you, sir. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
You want to say thank you? Say thank you. He can't hear you.
Thank you.
Oh.
He's going to give you a hug. She's got straight A's every semester, all last year and this year. Straight A's in every class.
Really? Okay, we get it. We get it. We get it, yeah. Vassiani.
That was tough to follow. My name's Jennifer Bocher, and I'm a resident of Laurel, and I'm here to take my 2 minutes for one thing to actually ask for all those people who haven't voted to vote against the at-large initiative. Also, I'm also here because I'm not a parent. However, I was talking to some kids in the community, and they said that there was police in their elementary school and in their middle schools. And I was really shocked about that. And they said they needed to be there because of all the drugs. And I said, well, what about services, social services in the school instead of police in the schools? And I've talked to the people in the hallway here, and I want you to encourage you to spend more money on the community research advocate programs in the public schools, because I think that that's going to help our students more than the police in the schools. But most of my time, I'm actually here to ask for the county to be more transparent in their budget and their operating cost. All the way through 311, I asked about, where can I see the budget? Where can I see the CIP? Where can I see the comprehensive annual reports? And it's not in there because they said that's not a constituent service. And I think understanding a budget from your community and is important as a constituent service, and that helps you decide on priorities, it helps you decide on decision-making, and the decisions have to be informed of these realities too. And I encourage anybody after this to see me, because I would love to talk to somebody else about this too, because not many people are interested in public finance, but I am.
Me too. They are.
All right.
We'll make sure, I don't know where Chris went, but Chris Wallace is going to get your information so we can find out to make sure Tom is not only sharing the budget with you, but also with the constituents, because we will be having our budget hearing coming up. And I'm sure the delegate and senator will provide you information on the budget in Annapolis.
Our next speaker is Rhonda Boatwright, followed by Jocelyn Ford and George McDermott.
Good evening. I'm Rhonda Boatwright, and I have just a couple of questions. With all of the urban sprawl that the county is currently undergoing, when are we going to catch up with the infrastructure? Roads, new schools. We don't want to end up with trailers back here at Flowers when we have this influx of additional people in the county. I'd also like to know, for all intents and purposes, is the boulevard dead? I mean, who goes there anymore?
No. Not only is the boulevard not dead, I'm gonna let you finish, then I'll say.
I'll let you speak to the boulevard.
So the boulevard is like, if you can go by in the boulevard now, go by. Because downtown Largo is like the greatest thing that's gonna happen. That's where our new hospital's going. It also, so when you see the stores emptying out at the boulevard, when the store, right, David? The stores that are emptying out there is because they're buying up the leases so they can bring in new stores, higher quality. It's gonna have mixed-use development, brand new hospital. In fact, the CAB, not the county seat, but the county administration building is moving to Largo. So all that around there is taken off. So that part, I can assure you, that's not only not dead, that is like the next happening thing around here.
Well, we will definitely look forward to that.
It's gonna be great.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
With respect to the infrastructure, are we going to get any new schools? You have the 68 townhomes going across the street. You have all of the apartments around the metro station itself. You have Woodmore that's booming at this point. Obviously, we need to have better roads, and we're going to need schools. We're going to need a lot of things. When are those coming?
My colleagues here sitting at the dais with me are going to be, those are priorities for us going to Annapolis. School construction dollars and also infrastructure dollars. The county puts its share in, but the bulk of the money that we need for, when I say infrastructure, that's roads and sidewalks and everything that has to do with development. All that, the bulk of the resources come from the state, right, Darrell? So we will be in Annapolis asking, our colleagues in Annapolis to help us demand more money from Annapolis and those things.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. And we love as we go down there for those things to have citizen support to show, as the young lady said earlier today, that we're the second largest jurisdiction, and it'd be nice to get resources that reflect that so we don't have the overgrowth in those state roads.
All right, our next speaker is Ms. Jocelyn Ford, followed by George McDermott and Jandale Benjamin.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Ford, and I want to ask about the kids. You win a lottery for your kids to go to school in Prince George's County, but you end up having to pay for transportation. And I feel that that is not fair because I pay taxes like anybody else. And the schools are filled by our people who work in there, and why do we have to pay for transportation? That's additional cost on the parents in order to send their kids to another school. And it should be included with our taxes because we pay taxes and they're high and we get less services.
Okay, I don't know if anybody know Dr. Maxwell left, but I don't know if anyone from the school system is still here. If not, Ms. Francis from our office will, I think we do have somebody. And Sheila, Ms. Jackson, you're here. So they will be happy to talk to you right back there.
Where you at?
Behind the post. All right. And I should say before the next speaker comes up here, I was reminded by Delegate Valentino Smith that, and this is very important, just as the county has its budget hearings and the executive's office sets the budget and sends it to the council, the governor sets the budget for our state. The difference is, or important part is, the legislative body can only take from the budget, it can't add to it. So getting the, especially around school construction and transportation and roads, it is very important. And if you contact us, we'll make sure you contact the governor, that we get a message to the governor that we want to make sure Prince George's County gets the resources in the budget dealing with these two critical issues. Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. McDermott.
George McDermott. I was born right here in Bowie, Maryland, 72 years ago. I've spent 68 of the last 72 years here. I'm bringing something to light. I'm here, I belong to the Prince George's County NAACP foreclosure fraud unit. And Prince George's County has had the largest foreclosure rates in the nation for the last 8 years. Our judges in the Prince George's County are robbing our citizens by failing to allow them their day in court. I've brought this up to every member of the Maryland General Assembly time after time after time, delivering letters to them. Nobody, if you're a victim of white-collar fraud, and that's what foreclosure fraud is, 70% of the homes in the state of Maryland who were foreclosed on in the last 6 years were foreclosed on illegally because the banks never had the note under 15 U.S.C. 1692. Yet, an average citizen, myself, I cannot go to the police, I cannot file a complaint anywhere to get relief, and there are 6,000 more homes slated for foreclosure right now. Why is it that a person could steal a loaf of bread from McDonald's, the police will run out there, or from 7-Eleven, they'll take him in, they'll lock him up, and incarcerate him, but if you're a victim of white-collar fraud, you have no rights in the state of Maryland. Unsigned orders, everybody in the state legislature knows that an unsigned order is a fraud, yet 90% of the orders in the Court of Appeals and Court of Special Appeals are all unsigned, and they won't verify it. I want somebody to produce to me the constitutional amendment that allows judges to issue these unsigned orders, because if the Court of Appeals issued an unsigned order, how can the sheriff act on that order?
Thank you.
God bless.
All right.
God bless
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Dale Benjamin. Okay, and before that speaker, I wanted to acknowledge that we've been joined by Delegate Eric Barron. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and after Ms. Benjamin, there will be, we have Ronald Monroe and Beatrice Rogers. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jandel Benjamin, and I have been a Prince George's County resident and Bowie homeowner since 1993. My concern this evening is the homeowner tax credit. The income requirement for the homeowner's tax credit has been the same since 2006. It has not changed since for 10 years. I would like to see, I was hoping that the income requirement would be updated to the current standard of living. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We will look into that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ronald Monroe. I believe if you want to have a great county, you must have great schools. Great schools raise property value, they increase job opportunities, and they lower crime. I live in Mitchellville. I've lived in the county for 7 years. No, I'm sorry, I moved in 2007, so that's 9 years. My son has attended Prince George's County schools his entire life. He was a tag student at Woodmore Elementary, where Miss Walker was a great principal. At Kenmore Middle School, he was also in tag. Now he is enrolled as a 9th grader in Bowie High School Annex. You can't have great schools when at the beginning of the school year, curriculum software licenses have not been renewed. You can't have great schools when 9th grade history's curriculum at the county requirement is that students should be in the 9th grade aware of the Civil War. But many of the students have not gotten till the War of 1812 in the 8th grade. There were 35 students in my son's 8th grade social studies class. When I inquired about the impact on the instruction, the teacher, Ms. Prescott, as she had to say, was that they were tag students, they could handle it. But if you ask any of the students, because my son was on the debate team, so I got a chance to interact with many of the students, they would answer differently. My son said to me, unprompted one day, he said, "Dad, I think that the tag program is just an excuse to have larger classes." And I believe him. You can't have a world-class school when bathrooms reek of urine. When you go to the Bowie Annex, the floors, they are immaculate. But when, as Ms. Walker said, when you look at the furniture in that school, I graduated in 1973. Some of that furniture was probably in the school then.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. You bring
yes.
it to a close. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Wait a minute, one last thing. Life is a series of small things. And we often say, the small things, don't sweat them. But if you do the small things, if we do the small things in this county, this can be a great county. Let's stop telling our children we really believe in their education and we're not investing enough money into the infrastructure and into their education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to the Great Sports and Learning Center to pick up my kid from swimming. So,
If you can make sure that, Chris, we can get your address and information so we can follow up with you.
Okay, our next speaker is Ms. Beatrice Rogers, followed by Terry Humphreys and Taiwan Lee.
Good evening, Mr. Baker, Senator, and Delegate. I'm here pitch hitting tonight for Andrea Culp, who's the chairperson of the Prince George's Provider Council, and we're here, as you might imagine, Mr. Baker, in opposition to two pieces of legislation you've submitted to the council, CR 84 and CB 96, which would allow our providers to be exempt from paying minimum wage to our direct support staff, who are key to and the backbone of all of our agencies. Our logo this year is respect hard work, don't sub-minimize it. And we're more than willing to work with you to find other alternatives. I'm pleased to see state folks here tonight because I think that it is something that we're going to have to.
Would you support a raise of the minimum wage at the state level?
Yes.
Okay.
We support the minimum wage even at the county level. We just have providers who, without some more financial assistance than they now get in their rates, cannot meet the minimum wage.
But you would support a raise of the minimum wage at the state level to put us in on the same level as everybody else in the state?
That would be, well, I believe you would have to lower your minimum wage to meet the state's minimum wage
But
right
no,
now. We don't
what
want
I'm
to
talking
do
about,
that.
if we raise the, because the
That
only.
would be fine.
You would support that, because
Yes,
the only
we
two
would.
counties that have the minimum wage is Montgomery County and Prince George's County. So if we raise the entire state, we'd be at the same level.
And we really do believe that having one minimum wage across the state is the best way to go.
Thank you.
We are trying to do some research, just for your information. In any of the jurisdictions across the nation that we found that have raised the minimum wage, none have taken the position to exempt the workers who provide the care, day-to-day care for people who care for our most vulnerable citizens, to be less than minimum wage employees. We think that they are more than minimum wage employees. There are many, many. Just for your information, they're not all going to speak tonight, but if those who are the direct support staff and the people they support are here tonight, if they could stand just as a show.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker is Terry Humphreys, followed by Taiwan Lee and Jay Friedman.
Good evening, I'm Terry Humphreys. I'm the mother of two special needs twin boys, the stepmom. When I was a child, I was living in Washington, D.C., and I always had a dream for some reason that I wanted to live in Landover, Maryland, because my dad's best friend lived over on Ray Leonard Drive in Landover, and that was just my dream to get to Landover, Maryland. And I worked hard all my life, and finally, I live in Landover, Maryland, and for a while, I was so proud until I met my husband and became the mother of my beautiful special needs twin sons, because now I'm ashamed to say that I live in Prince George's County. And it's really disheartening to know that this county does not think enough of my beautiful twin sons to want to support our caregiver with adequate pay for him to come to our home each and every day. If he's not paid and he doesn't come there to support us and to support our sons, where does that leave me? I work for the federal courts in Washington, D.C. The federal courts do not believe in telework every day. One of my special needs sons has seizures on the regular. If he doesn't take his Tegretol and his Topramate each and every day, and even when he does, he still has seizures. So the federal courts in D.C., they don't support me staying home with my son but maybe 1 or 2 days a week. And I think it's unfair to treat our caregiver as if he's an employee at McDonald's sweeping the floor, not to be paid because my son can't speak or because my son has trouble walking. It is highly unfair, and this is a critical issue. And I'm tired of coming to meetings, speaking my heart out, and nothing being done. I love my children. They're not my blood children. I have 2 other children, and I feel as though it's very unfair, and it needs to be addressed tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Next speaker is Taiwan Lee, and then Jay Friedman. Jay Friedman, then Nick Lukey. Now, before you speak, I just want to acknowledge we've been joined by Delegate Angela Angel also. Thank you, Delegate, for being here.
Good evening. My name is Tyan Lee.
Tyan.
T-Y-J-A-U-N. And I am the Vice President for Student Services at the newly named gorgeous Prince George's by our SGA President. Prince George's Community College is proud to join and support the Heads Up America campaign in support of Universal Community College, and has taken strides to study the Promise Scholarship, which is legislated by House Bill 1087, with hopes of bringing free tuition to our students in the county. As the Vice President for Student Services, I see students on a regular basis who must choose between living and going to college. Our students come to us with many lifestyle challenges. They are often homeless, they are often in poverty, they are often caregivers, they are often mothers taking care of multiple children, but they want to come to college, and they have to make a choice between going to college and taking care of their families. So I will hope that when we turn in, the task force turns in their recommendations to you, Mr. Baker, that you would work with our legislators to ensure that we are able to provide scholarships for the more than 93.2% of students who attend Prince George's County Public Schools, so that they may then come to Prince George's Community College and not be in debt when they leave this institution. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I have 30 seconds. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock at Prince George's Community College, Rennie Forum, we are having an open forum to talk about free community college. So I would invite all of you all to come and join us at Prince George's Community College. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lee. Next, we have Jay Friedman, Nick Lukey, followed by Brian Shomi. We'll
Good
see.
evening.
Yes.
Good evening. I live in College Park. My name is Jay Friedman. I just want to urge caution at the state level to the rush to change the structure at the head of the school board. I realize Dr. Maxwell's been here only 3 years, but I do want to point out, under the old system, from 2003 to 2013, we went through 5 superintendents or interim superintendents. That's 2 years per person. The administration can't get used to the students, the schools, the staff. Nobody gets functional with anyone. You don't get anywhere. Some of those individuals left under various causes and reasons, but the main thing I want to urge is that the old system didn't prevent a lot of things we have going on. The new system is actually helping our students. We don't seem to get enough information, I think, on test scores and new programs, STEM, and other initiatives. But as I look back, especially the 2003 to 2013, and every 2-year revolving door was a huge fail for the schools, huge fail for the students. Prior to that, we averaged about 4 years per superintendent. That gives you some time to get something done. But before that, in the 70s and 60s, it was 6 to 7 to 10 years. And if you look around the state, Fairfax County, Montgomery County, they were running about 10 years between superintendents. It gives you time to get something done and some continuity. So before we go rushing to say that the current CEO system is broken, various politicians concerned about various other issues, there were plenty of those other issues under the politician system that we had before the current CEO came on board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Nick Lukey, followed by Brian Shome. I hope I'm not killing your name too badly. And also Jim Stockton. Yes, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to address you with my concerns. I thought for a while that this was a teleprompter and it would tell me exactly what to say, but I see now that it's just repeating what I'm saying. So I'll just have to wing it. But I'm the parent of a young man who's developmentally disabled, a citizen of this county, who receives services from the Arc of Prince George's County. Now, the county has raised the minimum wage higher than the state's minimum wage, which is a great thing. It's a proud move. It's a bold move. It says that this county is a great place to live. If you're an employer who wants to come here and do business and make a profit, you've got to meet that minimum wage. You've got to step up and do that. Now, unfortunately, for the service providers of the county who aren't really making a profit but are providing a valuable service for the county citizens, they have a wage rate that's based on the state minimum wage instead of the county minimum wage. And so we've asked the county to step up the way that the county has asked every employer who's here to make a profit. We asked the county to step up to assist in helping our organizations meet the minimum wage that the county has established. Unfortunately, it's become a little bit like a dance now. Instead of stepping up, the county is stepping back. They've proposed a Resolution 84 and its companion Bill 96, which would lower the requirement for the minimum wage for the service providers. So in effect, they wouldn't be paid the same as everybody else at the minimum wage. And so we've gone from stepping up to stepping back, and now they're asking the service providers to step down lower than everybody else. So it's become a little bit of a dance, and it's a dance that we shouldn't do. I think we should all step up and support the minimum wage and support the service providers of this valuable service. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's Brian. Are you Brian?
My name's Brian Shome, yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here and to talk to everyone tonight. Currently, I'm a senior at the University of Maryland at College Park. I'm a proud Maryland Terrapin. But before that, I was a proud community college student and graduate. I'm here to talk about the Prince George's Promise Scholarship Task Force. I believe that's headed by Delegate Alonzo Washington. I just want to talk about my experiences real quick. I was actually schooled in Montgomery County. to get my community college. I went to Montgomery College, and fortunately enough, I was given a full ride there through scholarships. But not everyone is as fortunate as I was. And I just want to say that I believe it's an opportunity not afforded to enough people. I wouldn't be here at the University of Maryland. When I was a high school senior, I applied, and I didn't get into the University of Maryland, but I went to community college, I worked hard, I got my degree, and through my degree, I transferred to the University of Maryland, and in the spring, I will be graduating.
Very good.
So all I want to say here to everyone tonight is free community college should be an option. We should be talking about it, and more students should have that opportunity to move up the ladder and make something great in their life. So thank you so much, and hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Jim Stockton, followed by Shirley Myers and Anthony Stevenson.
Good evening. Mr. Baker, it's a pleasure to be here once again just to reiterate what has already been said, namely by Terry Humphreys and B. Rogers. I don't think I could do any better job of conveying to the extent that Terry has. She really expressed her heart about the concerns of us parents with the children with disabilities. I have a daughter, Alicia Stockton, whom you had the pleasure of meeting, Mr. Baker.
Sure did.
So I think you seem to understand exactly what our concerns are. You, among other elected officials, have communicated an understanding about the value of the work that has been provided by direct support professionals, many of whom have severe disabilities that require skill levels and patience way above minimum wage. And so I'm just here once again just to impress upon you the urgency to address this in immediate terms. I know that when B was up here talking, B. Rogers, you were entertaining the possibility of the state raising its minimum wage comparable to the county. But there is an immediate need. I'm afraid that if we wait very much longer, the hole is going to be so big that the programs may not be able to recover to the extent that they can continue to provide services, mainly because maybe by then a lot of the workers will have found jobs elsewhere in neighboring jurisdictions, which gives me a great concern because when I go to my daughter's program every day, she goes to the art program in Laurel, Maryland. I sort of go with I'm on pins and needles because I'm concerned that her 101 may have found another job somewhere else. And when that kind of thing happens, which has happened on several other occasions, that has really challenged the agency there as well as her home life because of trying to make that transition from one worker to the next. So I'm just saying that our workers are really in dire need of being considered for higher wages.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Shirley Myers, followed by Anthony Stevenson and
Yes.
Joan Oxendine.
Good afternoon, Mr. Baker. I
Good
came here
afternoon.
this evening. I really want to look you directly in the face. I can't see your eyes from this distance. But the reason why I'm here, I'm a psychiatric social worker, and my colleague Ellen Wiggins is here to support me. You're looking at someone who was told they would never make it out of high school or college, but I graduated from Catholic University of America.
All right.
Hi, baby, hi. Now, I'm here because my great-granddaughter was diagnosed with ADHD. I saw it when she was in elementary school. But a child who suffers from ADHD, they have problems with processing, and it takes them a while. She's now at Largo High School. I am at home trying to work at home to make meager income come into the home just so I can navigate what's going on with my great-granddaughter. She's 16. But what I have found, there is a lack of accountability. There is a lack of integrity. Tonight, my granddaughter is missing because she was told, she's in the 11th grade, all of a sudden, she was told that she failed algebra recovery. For Christ's sake, why was she in algebra recovery, a child diagnosed with ADHD? We have too many children who are falling through the cracks, but they're building jails for these children who are angry and have difficulty in learning. what needs to be done. You need to educate teachers for them to understand how the executive functioning in a child's brain operate. It takes a while for that child to process. She told me, Grandma, I'm getting incomplete. I'm failing some of my classes because I cannot complete the course. I made over 40 calls trying to get help from your office. Only one young lady understood my cry and my distress, and that was Tangi. She told me to call Miss Melissa. She ignored me. Carletta Morrow ignored me.
Hold on. Here's what I want you to do. Betty, is Sheila here? Can you, ma'am, I don't want you to go anywhere. I want to make sure we can do this offline. So someone's going to come right to you. And Chris, if you can go over there and just also get her information for me, please. We're coming right to you, ma'am. So there's a team of folks right there. We're going to get to the bottom of this. They're going to meet you right back there so you can talk in private. All right? Okay. There you go.
My last request.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Make the teachers and the leadership accountable, and be less children on the streets going to jail. Many of our children are angry, and they don't understand why. We cannot have educators benefiting on the backs of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere because we want to make sure, right there. Christopher's going to lead you to them.
Okay. Anthony Stevenson, followed by Joan Oxendine and Sylvia Griffin.
Yes, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys today. My name's Anthony Stevenson, and I'm from Mitchellsville, Maryland. I'm here on behalf of the Fox Lake Homeowners Association, and I'd like to talk about, we've been actually experiencing some poor, substandard constituent services as we try to reach out to the county for basic type of services. And I want to be specific. Trash service, tree trimming, litter pickup, damaged roads, potholes on Losford Road, lake cleanup near the Collington Lake, and Maryland Parks and Planning. There's a Maryland Parks and Planning trail that borders our community. We've been in touch with them as it relates to just basic maintenance. And we've written letters, we've emailed our representatives, and you know, it's like pulling teeth just to try to get the basic services for somebody to come out and trim a tree. We've had our first tree trimming in 20 years. Our stormwater management system, we had to actually almost file a lawsuit to get the county to come out there and service the stormwater management and clean them, because we've got bottles and trash that's actually building up in our community along the Collington. We're border Collington, the Life Care Center, right off Losford Road, and we're both experiencing the same thing because there's no maintenance, there's no regular maintenance of this infrastructure. And we've tried to bring it to the attention of every county rep, DPW and the like, but we're not getting a response. They've come out, they've done some work, but it's still not where it needs to be. And I hope, you know, going forward that there'll be some planning, some infrastructure planning around just basic maintenance and upkeeping of tree trimming, stormwater management facilities within communities, so that we don't have to file suits or you know.
So right behind you is Daryl Mobley, who's waiting to talk to you about these issues, and his team right there.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask you this, sir? Just one last one. Now, did you reach out to 311 on any of these issues?
The whole community, I'm the president of the Fox Lake Homeowners Association. We tell all of our residents that's the first point of contact to get on 311. And so we have an audit trail of all of our issues from 311, and they still haven't been addressed to our satisfaction.
I just want to make sure, Glenda, that we look that up. So, Daryl?
Okay, next is Joan Oxendine, followed by Sylvia Griffin and Tawan Campbell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to focus on Losford Vista Road, which is a county road. We moved to our community 38 years ago. In 1978, we were living in a rural community. Since that time, 450 has been widened and improved, and Lotsford Road has been widened and improved. We've had the Mitchellville Development Center to come on Lotsford Vista Road. We have 4 new housing communities to be built on Lotsford Vista Road. We had the Vista Garden Marketplace Shopping Center on Lotsford Vista Road. We have the Industrial Park on Lotsford Vista Road and Forbes Boulevard. On the plans is an assisted living facility for 84 residents and 100 employees at Sycamore Hill. And there's a proposed 117-unit townhouse and hotels across the street at 704 and 450 across from the Marketplace Shopping Center. That road has not been improved in 38 years. We can hardly get out of our neighborhoods during rush hour. The road is full of potholes. Last winter, the potholes got so big until we were driving on the edge. So we eroded all of the side of the road. We had someone from the highway department to come, transportation, and talk to us about Lotsford Vista Road, and we were told there was no money in the budget. Now, I voted already, and I voted for that improvement of money for a highway, and I hope that somewhere along the way, somebody can improve our Lotsford Vista Road street. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think somebody from our transportation right there, that young lady's going to help you.
Okay. Our next speaker is
Sylvia Griffin.
Sylvia Griffin, thank you. Tawan Campbell, followed by Candace Miller. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sylvia Griffin. I'm here on the behalf of my president as a resident and an advocate for the community of Birchwood City Clearview Manor Community Association, a growing and active community located inside the Beltway of South County in Prince George's County, District 8 and Legislative District 26. Birchwood City is a thriving and diverse community that interjects energy and commitment from our residents. The Birchwood Community Association efforts are always evolving to improve our civic, recreational, social, and economic conditions, which is why we are asking for your support. We do appreciate the opportunity to express our concerns and interests on behalf of our community, which, as you know, is a designated Transforming Neighborhood Initiative community, as well as a designated sustainable community. The Birchwood Community Association appreciates the several projects that various county agencies have completed. This was accomplished through the association's continuous efforts in petitioning Maryland National Park and Planning Commission, as well as other agencies. The association appreciates Maryland National Park and also other local government officials. In past budget hearings sessions, Birchwood also has expressed what our neighborhood needs and still needs. Yes, they have improved our recreational grounds, but there is more needed for our families, especially for our youth, our adults and seniors. It is through the association assessment that we need to have stationary recreational programs from the hours from 9 to 12, as well as from 6 to 9. We also have programs that we want to see as far as organized youth sports, recreational programs, health and wellness workshop for all of our ages in the Birchwood City Community Recreation Center. This would help health disparities. And I could go on and on and on, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good.
Ms. Campbell will be followed by Candace Miller and Alicia Melendez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tawana Campbell, and I'm a direct support staff for Sunrise Community. I have worked for this agency for over 5 years, so it's a compassion for me. I love working with individuals with special needs. The training, the support, teaching them independence, the job trainings, it's just a compassion for me, and I enjoy what I do. So for me to stand here tonight is to fight for the rest of the direct support staff that work with people with special needs, that, you know, a pay raise will truly benefit what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. And before our next speaker comes up, we're glad to have Delegate Eric Barron from the 24th District, who's pinch hitting tonight for the delegation. Thank you.
All right, next is Candace Miller, followed by Alicia Melendez and Aaron Markovich. Markovich?
Yes,
Yes,
hello.
ma'am.
My name is Candace Miller. I live in Landover. I'm also working at the Sunrise Community of Maryland. I've been there for 3.5 years. Our mission is providing people with disabilities the assistance and support necessary to enable them to live valued lives in the community. I repeat, our mission is providing people with disabilities the assistance and support necessary to enable them to live valued lives in the community. I also have much, much compassion for this job, and helping human beings is a part of my life. Another part of my life is my new husband and also possibly a new family. Talk of decrease has stressed, talk of decrease of already low pay has stressed my husband and I through countless evenings. I ask you, why do we pay more to care for our lawns than we do to care for human beings, people, loved ones? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Alicia Melendez, otherwise known as Chris Melendez. I'm a resident of the town of Bladensburg and a member of the board of directors for the Port Town CDC, as well as the B5 initiative, and I work at Community Forklift.
Oh, great.
Okay, and I'm here to bring to your attention 3 items that we need in our community. One is the county and state's investment in nonprofit organizations within the community, which are your arms in actually achieving those goals which we all may have as a county. The nonprofit organizations in our community of the Port Towns have a combined budget of $7.5 million a year. And we organize hundreds of volunteers who give thousands of hours in service to our community. And even though we are resource poor in dollars, in reality, we are rich in volunteers and time. And so we are asking the county and state to advocate for us to fund community organizations that can support our residents and our communities in lifting our communities up. 2, good schools benefit everyone. And we have 2 schools, we have 2 high schools and 5 elementary schools in the town of Bladensburg. And all of them are 115% over-enrolled, okay? And our schools, our communities won't benefit until that. The 3rd, we need more code enforcement officers, we need more permitting staff, and for our state delegates, we need to ban plastic bottles and promote a bottle deposit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker, Mr. Markovich, is followed by Jamil Aleem Johnson and Greg Garland.
Thank you. I'm Aaron Markovich. I represent Maryland Milestones, Anacostia Trails Heritage Area. Good to see you. We're based in Hyattsville and serve most of northern Prince George's County. We work to preserve and promote the history, art, culture, and natural resources of the region. We thank you, your staff, the Conference and Visitors Bureau for their ongoing support of our work. We recently launched an effort to build a heritage center at the new Pyramid Atlantic Arts Center. I'd like to thank your staff, folks like B. Tigner, Nick Majette, others who came. For my first comment, I wanted to celebrate the newly connected Anacostia River Trail into DC, creating a 70-mile bike and pedestrian-friendly network to get to and from northern Prince George's County. This can't be done without partnerships and work at all levels of government to get done. Now that we have a connection, though, let's make sure that those trails are safe for everyone with new safety infrastructure. I hope that you work with parks to get that done through whatever methods are necessary. Second, as you travel to Annapolis and talk with the governor, I hope you relate your enthusiasm and passion for history, which I know you have. There was a recently released study by the Maryland Historic Trust that the legislature should fund special grant programs which had been previously zeroed out that would help parts of the county not currently in the heritage area, such as the Accokeek region, to study and preserve historic places through these additional grants. Preservation Maryland is calling for a $1.5 million program to fund 3 or 4 different types of preservation programs, again, assisting places that are not in the heritage area. Finally, I would like to change my hat and put on my Greenbelt Homes Incorporated hat. This housing cooperative is one of the largest and oldest in the United States and certainly within Prince George's County. As legislation is drafted both at the local and state levels to support better housing throughout the county, please make sure that you consider GHI when making those plans. Laws are drafted which include us, such as the Common Ownership Communities Program, but are often redundant or contrary to our 50-plus years of operation. And we hope that you consider us in that process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Our next speaker, Jamil Aleem Johnson, followed by Greg Garland and Anthony Zanfordino.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the president of the Prince George's County Muslim Council, and thank you for holding this session, and welcome to everyone who's here. I want to mention 3 particular issues I'd like to discuss that I hope that we can work on. One is the closing of the public schools on the Eid holidays. 2 is allowing another opportunity for employees to access Sharia-compliant ethical funds for their county-sponsored retirement plans. 3rd is improving local minority contracting opportunities for businesses located in Prince George's County. Number 1, the Muslim population in Prince George's County continues to grow exponentially. Several new Islamic facilities, one of which you've visited, have expanded or opened in the county over the past 2 years. According to the Pew Foundation study conducted earlier this year, the Muslim religion is the fastest growing in the world, and the percentage of Muslim immigrants coming to the United States has already doubled in the past 10 years, and this includes a number of people in the refugee community. In the past year, New York City public schools were the first in the nation to declare the Eid holidays an official school holiday. In this year's District 5 school board primary, the first Muslim won the Democratic primary. The Muslim holidays are already acknowledged on the school calendar. The next logical step is to include them as a day of school closing. Number 2, secondly, Muslims have restrictions as to where we may invest. The problem that remains is obtaining the employer match if we just put it all in the IRA outside of our investment. Unless you are contributing to the employer retirement plan, that may violate Muslim religious beliefs. This can lead to an underinvestment in retirement savings among the county's Muslim employees. And lastly, Prince George's County is a majority-minority county. However, it lacks a strong minority preference for contracting opportunities within the county. Research is clear that minority set-aside programs can significantly impact both business ownership and employment rates. In consideration of the planned and potential projects, a strong minority preference program is essential to boost income and wealth creation in the county, as well as expand the county's tax base. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And I think on the minority business, Roland Jones is back there. I'm not sure if Sydney Phoenix is still here, but he'll talk to you. And then Chris will make sure we get your information, talk about the other 2 issues. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker, Greg Garland, followed by Anthony Zanfordino and Lisa Hayes.
All right, good evening. My name is Greg Garland.
Good evening.
Redevelopment is the key to successful Prince George's County. There are too many suburban sprawl developments such as Westphalia and not enough redevelopment projects like Arts District Hyattsville. As an employee of the City of Falls Church government, Department of Development Services, the redevelopment is a top priority in this city where I work. I honestly don't feel the same for Prince George's County. I would love to see redevelopment like in the city of Falls Church and surrounding areas of Arlington and Fairfax County be on the forefront here in Prince George's County. Developers demolishing older homes and building new homes tear down, rebuild, redeveloping the dilapidated shopping centers into mixed-use development. The idea that developers maximize and utilize every parcel of land, whether it's for homes or a park or a pocket park, is amazing. I would love to drive through our older communities of Capitol Heights, Landover Hills, Lanham, and Fort Washington and see the blend of new homes of old homes, providing a sense of pride, character, and help appreciate existing home values. This also lends to the idea of homeowners renovating their homes and even adding additions. I'm not suggesting that we turn Prince George's County into a replica of Arlington, but what I am inflicting is that we should be open to reaching out to developers to serve as master developers and or help redevelop our older communities, particularly our inner Beltway communities. I've been waiting for years for the county to create a contract with EYA, the developers of the Arts District Hyattsville, to become a master developer for Prince George's County. Montgomery County has been on board for years, and most recently, EYA is developing smart growth development near several of their metro stations, including West Side at Shady Grove and Chelsea Heights near Silver Spring Metro and downtown Silver Spring. Many of us are tired of stalled projects like Branch Avenue Metro or the Icon apartment condos at Addison Road Metro. If we want development at our metro stations and it's not happening, let's make it happen. Thanks.
You know what? You're going to be very pleased to talk to the gentleman over there and get a list of the things that we're doing that will make you very happy. Right, David? We're going to get you a nice color brochure.
All right, our next speaker is Anthony Zanfordino, followed by Lisa Hayes and Jasmine Green.
Good evening, Mr.
Good
County
evening.
Executive. My name's Anthony Zanfordino. This is my son, Stormy Zanfordino.
Hi, Stormy.
He's a 10-year-old child with Down syndrome. Before he was born, I was not really aware of the disability community. The day he was born, I learned more. The thing I know, he'll never join my fraternity, which is the greatest fraternity on earth.
You must be an Omega.
Yes. But more importantly, I got involved with the Arc of Prince George's. A few years ago, I think it was in Laurel on a snowy night, you had a listening session, and you asked if we support the minimum wage. I said yes. Now we're at a ping pong situation where you're saying, well, will you support if I go to the state? The state has a deficit. They have a deficit. So why are they going to support the minimum wage? Why are we going to pass the buck? We followed with Montgomery County. So we played, let's keep up with the Joneses. So if we want to keep up with the Joneses, now's our time to find the money for the people who work with some of our citizens who really need our help. And I would ask that before the county council votes, that each member down from the county executive to the council members visit one of those properties and spend 4 hours in that job. Let's play undercover boss. If you're gonna vote on it and say waive the minimum wage, let's spend that time in that job. And when you do, I will join you. I will ask the board members for all of the provider councils to find time. I will donate my paycheck that day to the organization because I'm that committed to making sure these individuals who I've had to tell we can't give you a raise because guess what? We don't have the money, that I can't do it. But now is the time. We're going to stop playing ping pong and we're going to vote on this, and this is what you want. Have the county council show up and work side by side with them.
Okay.
Because one last thing, as you know, the difficult, we do immediately. The impossible may take us a while. So is this difficult or is it impossible?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Lisa Hayes, followed by Jasmine Green and Karen York.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lisa Hayes. I'm president of the Advocacy Foundation at Piscataway Park. Recently, students from Gwynn Park High School who participated in our Agriculture Conservation Corps were featured on public radio's Marketplace, aired nationwide, in a story about the growth of FFA. The Agriculture Conservation Corps is a paid summer internship for youth from southern Prince George's County who spend 7 weeks working with our staff learning about agriculture. These students are paid through the county's Youth at Work program. One of these students recently returned from representing Maryland at the World Food Prize gathering in Iowa. He was one of 200 young leaders from around the country who participated. This is a small example of the extraordinary things that collaboration can make happen. Nonprofit, public school system, county workforce development program. We need more of this kind of collaboration. We need to think bigger. We need to think more creatively. And I confess to being a frustrated nonprofit CEO leading an amazing organization that is struggling to balance its budget, unable to secure more than token support from the county, and with no access to program support from the state, because southern Prince George's County, with MGM and National Harbor, but with all of those incredible natural and cultural resources, is not in a state heritage area. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, the next speaker is Ms. Jasmine Green, followed by Karen York and Sherry McGill.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, so I have a great, colleagues right here. They just covered everything for me, so I'm just going to touch base on how my more so testimony. Prince George's Community College is definitely a pathway for each individual of Prince George's County, Maryland, everywhere, all over the world, to have a better opportunity in their life. And we are also partnered with Hands Up America, and this is also to promote, what's the best word to say? Opportunities for others through free tuition. And they've covered the more so importance. I want to give the testimony part. I'm a student. I am the SGA Director of Community Relations, and I am very much connected with all my peers when they say that going to college, that's crazy, and that's just shame. No one should think that college is crazy. No one should think that it cannot be done. I agree when they say it's not impossible. It may be difficult, but it's not impossible. And to promote this through free tuition is amazing. Each one of us need education. We have all recognized that. We teach our grandchildren, our children, our friends, that education is important. How can we limit that? How can we limit that? You're going to sell everyone short of the opportunities that we can have through education. So promoting that with free tuition for everyone to have an opportunity, what's better? Someone on the street without anything, or giving? Because as humans, we should be able to give, because that is a human right. Every person deserves the opportunity. I would really just like to say, thank you for letting me speak on this, because it's important for not just youngs like me, but for everybody.
Thank you.
One quick thing. Education should be available to everyone who seeks it. And if we seek it, if we desire it, no one should be able to limit that. If we have a vision, pursue it. And we need everyone's help. Not just legislative, not just big important people like you guys. We need everybody, our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Karen York, followed by Sherry McGill and Patricia Washington.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Karen York. I'm Director of Policy and Strategic Partnerships for the Job Opportunities Task Force. We're a statewide nonprofit who supports policies and programs to help low-wage workers advance to high-wage jobs. The initiatives that I want to bring to your attention this evening are initiatives that many of them have been introduced before the legislature before, and many have held the support of the county delegation, but I would like to draw your attention to them to urge your leadership on many of them, and particularly those that are being introduced for the first time in 2017. The first initiative is paid sick days. Everyone gets sick, and everyone deserves an opportunity to recover without having to risk economic security. For the past 4 years, the Job Opportunities Task Force has been a part of a coalition, the Working Matters Coalition, to advance earned sick days in Maryland. It will be reintroduced this upcoming session to allow for 1 hour of earned sick leave for every 30 hours worked for up to 7 days for full-time workers. The next initiative has to deal with bail reform. This is an issue that Maryland has studied for the past couple of years, but it has a renewed commitment. There are a number of individuals that are leading the effort to ensure that individuals that are not able to pay are not being detained, such as Delegate Barron, and those individuals that are able to pay but a risk to public safety are detained until their trial. So really urge your leadership on that. And the last issue has to deal with the impact that a criminal record has on workers' ability to secure employment. The state has moved very far in taking great steps in allowing for the shielding and expungement of certain offenses, but more needs to be done. There are a number of individuals who have non-conviction records. They were not found guilty, and they are not able to get those expunged. So there's an effort to repeal the unit rule. Would love to talk with your community relations team about that this session. Also, many are familiar with Ban the Box. I worked with the county, with your administration and the county council to advance that on the local level. But while we've banned the box, removing the arrest conviction question from initial job applications, we need to also move it from college applications to ensure that a criminal record is not a barrier to education. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Sherry McGill, followed by Patricia Washington, and then Marie and Larry Robertson. Is Ms. McGill here? Okay.
Okay.
How about Patricia Washington? No. Okay. How about Maria and Larry Robertson?
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you, honored guests. Hello, community. My name's Maria Robertson, and this is my husband, Larry Robertson.
How you doing? Good evening.
Good evening.
We have a community services issue that we'd like to bring before you. Earlier this year, as we all know, the storm hit us, and it wasn't by surprise. It was broadcast on the national news for 2 or 3 days. However, my family and my neighbors band together to shovel out our community at Ventura Woods in Capitol Heights. I wasn't happy, and it wasn't fair to us as the community. However, the snowplows did show up 3 days after we dug ourselves out. The next issue I'd like to bring before you is a safety issue. I understand that the Capitol Heights Fire Station is a volunteer fire station, and I'm not taking anything away from the volunteers. They do an excellent job. I myself and my family served 30 years as a volunteer for some, so I commend the volunteers. However, there was an automobile that caught fire maybe 50 feet outside of our home. We don't know how it caught fire. It was suspicious circumstances. However, it took 3 hours for the fire department to show up. And Prince George's County is a highly wooded area, and Ventura Woods is a highly wooded area.
You said
And
3 hours before they
yes,
showed up?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
That was
And-
Denise.
And we called several times. My neighbors and I called several times. And yes, we did use 311. I digress with the snowplow issue. However, it was just unheard of. It was frightening, and the fires flew up, and they did catch some of the trees. So the fire department did show up 3 hours later. So please address this issue. If finances are an issue, then address it when you go to Annapolis. Thank you.
I should tell you, before you leave, the gentleman back there, Mark Basher, Mark McGall, who's our deputy for, Basher would like that I mentioned his name. And Deputy Chief Barksdale is here. So they want to talk to you about the 3 hours and why it took so long.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. County Executive, that ends our speakers list.
Well, listen, Well, thank you very much for coming out. This is very good. Thank you for participating.